We have two incredible guests that I'm happy to introduce. Pat Armstrong, a family leadership coach in the West Coast, and Arne Boudewyn. Did I get it right? I always struggle. I apologize. Can you tell us, share where that name comes from?
Sure. The first name, well, thank you for welcoming us. Michael, so happy to be here. It's Arne Boudewyn for sure. You got it 100% right. First name Arne is Swedish, derived from Swedish, and the second is Dutch. My dad from the Netherlands, and that's where it comes from.
I love it. I always love, having that interesting name. Pat, you're Pat, I'm Michael. There was like 30 of us as we were going through school, right? So welcome to both of you. I really appreciate you joining us and sharing your expertise today. What we like to do when we start the show is if each of you would just take a couple of minutes. This idea of working with family-owned businesses, I think in the last maybe 5 years or so, has really started to become a more well-known study. But even today, it's not really that well-known. So where did you come from and how did you get into working with family-owned businesses? What was your journey? So Pat, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to kick us off.
Sure, I'd be happy to, Michael. Well, I'm a psychologist by training, so started out in public mental health, and then developed an interest in organizational psychology. I pursued, work in a variety of perspectives. Really, probably most directly came to the family work by way of serving as the head of human resources for a decade of Wells Fargo's private bank. And in that context, learned a lot about the trust business, family businesses, working with families. And so after a decade doing that, had the opportunity to work with Arne at the company's multifamily office, which is Abbott Downing. And so at that juncture in my career, it was really an opportunity to go back and work directly with clients, but within the context of their family businesses, within the context of leadership development, and really helping them achieve the objectives that they hope to. So it was kind of a path through organizational psychology and human resources.
Yeah, and there's probably no more interesting organization than the family at sometimes, right?
Well, that's right. Wonderful dynamics. And then just on a personal note, I didn't make this connection intentionally, but my parents had a small family business, so I certainly had an appreciation for how, when you have a family business, it's all hands on deck. And then also my grandparents had a farm, so I'm the third generation steward of that farmland in Illinois. And you learn a few things about that as well. So
agreed, love it. Arne, tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, like Pat, I've also been trained as a psychologist, and originally started out in private practice when I received my PhD in San Francisco, where I was born and raised, and moved into an interest in health psychology, particularly behavioral health interventions in primary care. And because of that interest, pursued working with the neurology department in the multiple sclerosis clinic at the University of San Francisco, California in San Francisco, and subsequently with Kaiser Permanente, one of the big HMOs in our country, and their corporate offices, helping to design psychosocial interventions for chronic health conditions like diabetes, healthcare, heart attack, I should say, and so forth. I was recruited over to Wells Fargo, actually our parent company, in 2003 to help run our employee assistance program, which at that time was one of the largest internal employee assistance programs in the world. And after about 7 years in different HR roles there, moved over to the wealth side of the business. Now 10 plus years ago, immediately found that I was just passionately interested in the organizational, psychology aspects, the systemic approach to helping families manage through transitions. and I've never looked back. It's there's so much you can do, so many interesting families to get to meet across the country. And also, I just find myself inspired by these families every day and how they navigate some of the natural inherent challenges of family business.
Love it. That's I think it's that piece that probably drives all of us, is that it is you know so different and so inspiring to watch what's happening inside of the family dynamics, the family business, and you know how they manage things, that it makes every day exciting and fun, and that's great.
Yes.
Thank you both again.